My gay best friend asked if he could spend a night with my husband. I laughed it off until I found photos of him on my husband's phone. I'm Jessica, 34 years old, married to Cole for 8 years, and currently staring at my husband's unlocked phone like it might explode. Let me rewind just a bit. My best friend Ethan had been part of my life since we were 16. We met at summer camp, bonded over our mutual love of horror movies and stayed close through everything. College, bad relationships, good relationships, everything. Ethan came out when we were 19. I was the second person he told right after his sister. We celebrated by getting matching temporary tattoos and eating an entire pizza by ourselves. When I met Cole at 25, Ethan approved immediately. They got along great. Cole was in finance. Ethan was a graphic designer, and somehow they found common ground in their shared obsession with vintage motorcycles. Everything was perfect. Or so I thought. Last month, Ethan called me sounding stressed. "Can I ask you something?" Word, he said. "Always. I have this project for a client. They're based 2 hours north of you and I have to be there super early for a photo shoot. Like 5 o'clock in the morning early. Your place is right on the way. And I know this is strange, but could I crash at yours the night before? I'd get in late and leave before sunrise." "Of course. Next Thursday. But here's the thing. You have that school thing, right? The overnight workshop in Chicago. I did a mandatory teacher development workshop. 2 days, 1 night. You'd only be there with Cole?" I said slowly. "Right. Which is why I'm asking if it's weird. I can get a hotel if don't be ridiculous. Cole won't care." "You sure?" "Positive. You guys get along great." Ethan hesitated. "Hey, thanks, Jess. You're the best." I asked Cole that night. He shrugged. "Fine with me. We'll order pizza and watch that documentary about evil Conval he's been bugging me about." I left for Chicago on Thursday morning. Texted Cole and Ethan throughout the day. Everything seemed normal. Got a photo that night of them with pizza boxes and beer. Both giving thumbs up to the camera. Boys' night success. Cole texted. I smiled and went back to the incredibly boring workshop about integrated learning strategies. Came home Friday evening. Cole picked me up from the train station, kissed me like he always did, asked about the workshop. "How was Ethan's visit?" I asked. "Good. We stayed up too late talking. He left at like 4:30 in the morning. Did his photo shoot go okay?" Cole paused for just a second. "Yeah." He texted me later saying it went great. Something in his voice was off, but I was tired and didn't think much of it. 3 weeks passed. Everything was normal until yesterday morning. I was making coffee. Cole was in the shower. Both our phones were charging on the counter. His buzzed with a text. I glanced at it automatically. Saw Ethan's name. "We need to talk about what I found." My stomach dropped. What did that mean? The phone buzzed again. Another text from Ethan. "I've been looking into it more. This is bigger than we thought." "Looking into what?" I picked up Cole's phone. It was unlocked because he'd just been using it. I opened the text thread with Ethan and my world tilted sideways. Messages from the past 3 weeks. Constant communication. Meeting up for lunch, meeting for coffee, long phone calls according to the timestamps. But it was the photos that made my blood run cold. Photos of documents, bank statements, credit card bills, screenshots of emails, photos of our house, of our bedroom, of my car, photos of me taken from a distance, me leaving school, me at the grocery store, me meeting my friend Rachel for dinner. Why did Ethan have surveillance photos of me? I scrolled further back. Found messages. From the night Ethan stayed over. I got them. All of them. Good. How many? At least 40, maybe more. They're hidden everywhere. Jesus. Okay, we need to be careful about this. If she finds out before we're ready, she won't. I'll make sure of it. What the hell was happening? I heard the shower turn off. Cole would be out any second. I quickly forwarded several of the photos to myself, then deleted the evidence that I'd sent them. Put his phone back exactly where it was. My hands were shaking. Cole came downstairs in his work clothes, smiled at me. "You okay? You look pale." "Just tired. Didn't sleep well." He kissed my forehead. "Get some rest. I'll pick up dinner on my way home." After he left, I sat on the couch and looked through the photos I'd sent myself. The documents were financial records, but not ours. At least not any I recognized. Bank accounts I'd never seen. Credit cards I didn't know existing. Statements showing massive purchases, cash withdrawals, transfers to offshore accounts, all in Cole's name, my husband's name. But the amounts were insane. Hundreds of thousands of dollars moving in and out of accounts. Where was this money coming from? Cole made good money in finance, but not this kind of money. Unless I looked at the photos of our house again, zoomed in, they weren't just random photos. They were focused on specific things. The air vents, the floorboards, behind the outlet covers, hidden spots. Ethan's message came back to me. They're hidden everywhere. Hidden what? I called my sister, told her I was sick and needed her to cover my classes for the day. Then I started searching. Started with the bedroom. Checked the air vents like in the photos. Nothing. Checked behind the outlet covers. Nothing. Checked under the floorboards in the closet and found something. A small metal box tucked into a hollowed-out space beneath the boards. Inside were USB drives, 4 of them labeled with dates. I grabbed my laptop, plugged in the first one. It was full of encrypted files, password protected. I tried Cole's birthday, our anniversary, his mother's name. Nothing worked. Then I remembered something. Years ago, Cole had told me about his childhood dog, a German shepherd named Ranger. He'd loved that dog. I typed Ranger 2008. The files opened and I immediately wished they hadn't. Documents, thousands of them, financial records, transaction histories, client list. Cole's firm dealt with high net worth individuals, estate planning, investment management. But these documents showed something else entirely. Money laundering, fraud, embezzlement. Cole was stealing from his clients millions of dollars, moving it through shell companies, offshore accounts, cryptocurrency, and he'd been doing it for years. I felt like I was going to be sick. But there was more. Email exchanges between Cole and people I didn't know. Talking about cleaning money, about disappearing funds, about problems that needed to be handled. One email chain made my blood run cold from someone named Vincent. The investigator is getting too close. We need to deal with her. Cole's response. How do you suggest we deal with it, Vincent? The same way we dealt with the last problem. Cole, when Vincent, soon I'll let you know. This was from 6 months ago. I checked the news archives, searched for investigators, financial crimes, found an article about a forensic accountant named Patricia Chin. She'd been investigating a financial firm for fraud. She died in a car accident 5 months ago. The article mentioned she was getting close to exposing a major embezzlement scheme before her death. The police had ruled it an accident. Single car collision. She'd swerved off the road late at night, but the way Cole and Vincent had talked about it, had they killed her? I was shaking so hard I could barely hold the laptop. I plugged in the second USB drive. More documents, more evidence, more crimes. And then I saw something that made everything make sense. A file labeled insurance. Inside were photos of Cole meeting with Vincent, meeting with other men I didn't recognize. Exchanging briefcases, standing in front of warehouses. These were surveillance photos. Someone had been watching Cole, documenting everything. I opened the metadata on the photos. They had been taken over the past 8 months by someone with the username E. Morrison. Ethan Morrison. Ethan had been investigating my husband. But why? I called Ethan. He answered on the first ring. Just what's wrong? I know everything. I found the USB drives. Silence. Ethan, what the hell is going on? Where are you? Home. Cole's at work. Ethan, tell me what's happening. I'm coming over. Don't touch anything else. Don't tell anyone. I'll be there in 20 minutes. He hung up. I sat on the floor of my bedroom, surrounded by evidence that my husband was a criminal, possibly a murderer, and my best friend had been secretly investigating him. Ethan arrived 18 minutes later. He looked stressed. Scared even. How did you find them? He asked immediately. I saw your text with Cole this morning. The photos? I figured it out. Ethan closed his eyes. We were so careful. Then what is this? Why do you have all this? He sat down on the couch, took a deep breath. 6 months ago, my sister Rachel started working as a paralegal at a law firm downtown. She was assigned to a case, a lawsuit against Cole's firm. A client claimed they'd embezzled from his elderly mother's trust fund millions of dollars. My Rachel, Ethan's sister Rachel, the Rachel I had dinner with all the time. Rachel started digging into the case, found irregularities, inconsistencies. She brought them to her boss, but he dismissed her concerns. Said the client was just bitter about bad investments, but Rachel didn't believe him. No, she kept looking on her own time and she found evidence. Real evidence that Cole and several partners at his firm were running a massive fraud operation. The USB drives, those are copies. Rachel has the originals in a safe deposit box. She's been gathering evidence for months, building a case. Why didn't she go to the police? Because some of Cole's clients are police, judges, politicians. She didn't know who to trust. She needed to make sure the evidence was airtight before she brought it to the FBI. I felt dizzy. And you've been helping her. He asked me to. She needed someone to do surveillance, to photograph meetings, to track Cole's movements. I'm a photographer. It's literally what I do. The night you stayed here, I planted cameras, tiny ones, in the vents behind picture frames. We needed to see if Cole was keeping evidence at home, and we found those USB drives because of the footage. I put my head in my hands. This is insane, Jess. There's more. How can there possibly be more? Rachel found communications between Cole and Vincent about getting rid of problems. We think they were behind Patricia Chen's death, the forensic accountant. I saw those emails. We've been trying to tie them directly to her accident. If we can prove they murdered her. Ethan's voice trailed off. And you didn't tell me. You've known my husband is a criminal for 6 months and you didn't tell me. Rachel wanted to. I wanted to, but we couldn't risk it. If Cole suspected you knew anything. If he thought you might go to the police. Ethan's face was anguished. These people are dangerous, Jess. They've already killed once, maybe more than once. He thought Cole would hurt me. I didn't know. I still don't know. But I couldn't take that chance. I stood up, paced the room. My husband, the man I'd loved for almost a decade. Thief. A fraud, maybe a killer. What happens now? I asked. Rachel's almost ready to go to the FBI. She has an agent she trusts, former prosecutor who specializes in white-collar crime. She's presenting everything next week. And Cole, he'll be arrested along with Vincent and the others. They'll go to prison for a very long time. I thought about Cole picking me up from the train station, kissing me, telling me he loved me. Had any of it been real? There's something else, Ethan said quietly. Something you need to know. What? The money Cole's been stealing. Some of it he's been spending it on you. What? Ethan pulled out his phone. Showed me bank records. Your car, the one he bought you for your birthday last year, paid for with stolen money. The renovation we did on the house, stolen money. That vacation to Italy, stolen money. I felt sick. Everything you have, everything you think is yours was bought with money Cole stole from people, from families, from elderly people's retirement funds. I ran to the bathroom, threw up. When I came back out, Ethan was on the phone. She knows, he was saying. Yeah, she found everything. No, I think she's okay, but we need to move faster. He hung up, looked at me. Rachel's going to the FBI tomorrow. She was waiting until next week. But now that you know, we can't risk Cole finding out. What do I do? You act normal. You go to work. You come home. You have dinner with Cole. You pretend everything is fine. For how long? 24 hours, maybe less. As soon as Rachel hands everything over, the FBI will move. They'll arrest Cole at his office. You'll be safe. And then what? My life falls apart. Ethan's eyes filled with tears. Your life was built on a lie, Jess. I know that's hard to hear, but you deserve better than this. Better than him. I couldn't argue with that. That night I made dinner. Cole came home with Thai food from my favorite place. Beat you to it, he said, smiling. We ate on the couch, watched a sitcom. He put his arm around me, and the whole time all I could think was, you're a monster. But I smiled, laughed at the jokes, pretended everything was fine. You seem quiet tonight, Cole said during a commercial break. My heart stopped. Just tired. Long day with the kids. Want to go to bed early? Yeah, that sounds good. We went upstairs. Cole changed into his pajamas, got into bed beside me. Love you, he said, kissing my temple. Love you too, I managed to say. The words tasted like ash. In my mouth, Cole fell asleep within minutes. I lay awake, staring at the ceiling. This man beside me. This man I'd shared a bed with for 8 years. I didn't know him at all. I thought about all the times he'd come home late from work, all the business trips, all the weekends he'd spent at the office. Had he been stealing the whole time? Had he been meeting with Vincent, planning crimes while I made dinner and graded papers and lived my normal, boring life? I got up carefully, went downstairs, sat in the dark living room, looked at our wedding photo on the mantel. Cole and me smiling, happy, young, and in love. Or at least I'd been in love. Had Cole ever loved me? Or had I just been convenient, the perfect cover for his perfect criminal life? I must have fallen asleep on the couch because Cole woke me up in the morning. Babe, why are you down here? I blinked. Tried to think of an excuse. Couldn't sleep. Didn't want to wake you. He kissed my forehead. You okay? You've been acting weird. I'm fine. Just stressed about work. Want me to take you out this weekend? Nice dinner. Help you relax. Dinner paid for with stolen money. Sure, that sounds great. Cole smiled. Got ready for work. Left at his usual time. I sat on the couch for another 10 minutes. Then I called. Then is it happening? Rachel's meeting with the FBI agent at 10 o'clock. They'll probably move by this afternoon. How are you holding up? I don't know. I feel numb. That's normal. Jess, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry we didn't tell you sooner. I'm sorry you had to find out this way. You were trying to protect me. So you're my best friend. You deserve to know. Did you ever suspect before Rachel found everything? Ethan was quiet for a moment. Honestly, no. Cole was always so normal, so boring even. I never would have guessed. Me neither. And I was married to him. That's what makes him good at it. The most successful criminals are the ones who seem the most ordinary. I thought about that, about how Cole was always so predictable, so reliable, so boring. Maybe that was the point. I went to work, taught my classes, pretended everything was normal, but I kept checking my phone, waiting for news, waiting for something to happen. At noon, one of my students asked if I was okay. You seem distracted, Mrs. Hayes. I'm fine, Emma. Just a lot on my mind. Is it about your husband? My blood ran cold. What? I just mean you keep checking your phone. My mom does that when she's worried about my dad. Oh yes. Just checking on him. The lie came easily. Too easily. At 2 in the afternoon, I got a call from an unknown number. Mrs. Jessica Hayes. Yes. This is Agent Morrison with the FBI. I'm currently with your friend Rachel Morrison. Can you confirm you're in a safe location? I'm at school in my classroom. Good. I need you to stay there. Don't go home. Don't contact your husband. We have agents at your house right now and we're about to arrest Cole at his office. Someone will come to speak with you within the hour. You're not in any trouble, but we need to ask you some questions. The line went dead. I sat at my desk, stared at the wall. My phone buzzed. A text from Cole. Something's happening at work. FBI just showed up. Call you later. Then nothing. I stared at that message. At those words, FBI just showed up. He knew right now in this moment, Cole knew his world was ending. Part of me felt satisfaction. He deserved this. But part of me felt something else, something complicated. Because even though he was a criminal, even though he'd lied to me for years, he was still the man I'd loved, the man I'd built a life with. And that life was over. An hour later, 2 agents came to my classroom. A woman and a man, both in dark suits. Mrs. Hayes. I'm Agent Chin. This is Agent Rodriguez. Can we speak somewhere? Private? I took them to an empty classroom down the hall. They asked me questions about Cole, about his work, about our finances. Did you know about your husband's criminal activities? Agent Chin asked. No, I just found out yesterday. How? I explained about seeing the texts, about finding the USB drives, about Ethan and Rachel's investigation. You didn't confront your husband? Ethan told me not to. Told me to wait until Rachel went to the FBI. Agent Chin nodded. Made notes. Did your husband ever discuss his work with you? Mention clients? Business deals? Sometimes, but nothing that seemed unusual. He'd complain about difficult clients or long hours. Normal stuff. Did he travel frequently for work? Yes, maybe once a month, sometimes more. Did you ever accompany him on these trips? A few times, but usually I had school. I couldn't take time off. More questions, more answers. Finally, Agent Chin closed her notebook. We've arrested your husband along with Vincent Palmer and 3 other partners at his firm. They're being processed now. What happens to me? You'll need to come to the field office tomorrow to give a formal statement. But for tonight, we recommend you stay with family or friends. Your house is a crime scene. We'll be searching it for the next several days. Can I get some clothes, personal items? We'll arrange that. An agent will accompany you. Am I in trouble? No. Based on what we know so far, you had no knowledge of your husband's activities. You're a victim here, Mrs. Hayes. A victim? Was that what I was? Rachel and Ethan picked me up from school, took me to Rachel's apartment. I'm so sorry, Rachel said immediately. I'm so sorry I didn't tell you sooner. You were doing your job. You're my friend. You're like family. I hated keeping this from you. The 3 of us sat in Rachel's living room. She and Ethan explained everything in detail. Rachel had been working the case for 8 months. Started with 1 client complaint, but the more she dug, the more she found. Cole's been doing this for 12 years, Rachel said. Since before you even met him? 12 years. He started small, skimming here and there, but it escalated. By the time I found him, he and his partners had stolen over $30 million. I couldn't process that number. 30 million from how many people? At least 60 families that we know of? Probably more. 60 families whose lives he destroyed while building ours. The victims, I said slowly. Will they get their money back? Some of it. The FBI has recovered about 18 million so far, but the rest. Rachel shook her head. Offshore accounts. Cryptocurrency. It's gone. What about Patricia Chin? The accountant who died. Rachel's face darkened. We found proof. Cole and Vincent hired someone to tamper with her car. Cut the brake lines. Made it look like an accident. They actually killed her. Yes. And we think there might be others. We found references to another problem from 3 years ago. An auditor named Michael Brennan. He supposedly had a heart attack, but he was 36 and healthy. You think they killed him too? We're investigating. The FBI is exhuming his body. This was insane. This was a nightmare. Did Cole ever? I couldn't finish the sentence. Did he ever hurt you? Ethan asked gently. Physically, no, never. He was always so gentle, so kind. That's the scary part, Rachel said. These guys, they're not the criminals you see in movies. They're not violent psychopaths. They're just greedy, and they're willing to do whatever it takes to protect their money. Even kill people. I stayed at Rachel's apartment that night. Tried to sleep on her couch but couldn't. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Cole's face. Cole laughing at a joke. Cole making breakfast on Sunday mornings. Cole holding my hand during a scary movie. Had any of it been real, or had I been living with a stranger for 8 years? The next morning I went to the FBI field office, gave my formal statement, answered more questions, then they showed me something. We need you to identify some items, Agent Chin said. She laid out photos on the table. Jewelry, watches, designer handbags. Do you recognize these? That's my necklace, the one Cole gave me for our 5th anniversary. And that bracelet and those earrings, all purchased with stolen funds. I stared at the photos, at these beautiful things I'd treasured. These symbols of Cole's love. All of it was stolen. What happens to them? They'll be liquidated. The proceeds will go to the victims. Good. They should have them. I don't want any of it. Agent Chin looked at me with something like sympathy. I know this is hard, Mrs. Hayes, but you're doing the right thing. Was I? Because it didn't feel like the right thing. It felt like my entire life was being dismantled piece by piece. The house, the car, the jewelry, the savings, all of it gone. Everything I thought was mine had never been mine at all. Over the next few weeks, the story exploded. Local news picked it up first. Financial advisor arrested and multi-million-dollar fraud scheme. Then national news, investment firm scandal. Elderly victims speak out. Cole's face was everywhere, and by extension so was mine. Reporters called constantly. Showed up at my school, at Rachel's apartment. Mrs. Hayes, did you know about your husband's crimes? Mrs. Hayes, how does it feel to know you were living off stolen money? Mrs. Hayes, do you still love your husband? I stopped answering my phone, stopped checking social media, but I couldn't escape it. One of the victims gave an interview. An elderly woman named Margaret. She trusted Cole with her late husband's life insurance money, $2 million. Cole had stolen all of it. I don't understand how someone could do this, Margaret said on camera, crying. He seems so nice, so trustworthy. And now I have nothing. Nothing. I watched that interview in Rachel's living room, watched this woman cry. This woman whose life Cole had destroyed. And I cried too, because I'd been part of it. Maybe I hadn't known. Maybe I was a victim too. But I'd benefited from his crimes. I'd driven the stolen car, worn the stolen jewelry, lived in the house paid for with Margaret's money. It's not your fault, Ethan said, sitting beside me. How is it not my fault? I was married to him. I should have known how. He was careful. He was smart. He fooled everyone. I was his wife. I should have seen something. Jess, you can't blame yourself for this. But I did. I blamed myself every day. 2 months after Cole's arrest, his lawyer called me. Mrs. Hayes, this is Bradley Chin. I'm representing Cole. I know who you are. Cole would like to see you, to speak with you. No, Mrs. Hayes. Please. He has things he needs to say, things he wants to explain. I don't care what he wants. Please, just one visit. Just hear him out. I hung up, but the calls kept coming every day, sometimes twice a day. He's desperate to talk to you, Bradley Chin said during one call. He's asking me to beg you to tell you he's sorry. Tell him I don't accept his apology. Mrs. Hayes, tell him I never want to see him again. Tell him he destroyed everything. Tell him my voice broke. Tell him I wish I'd never met him. I hung up. But that night I couldn't stop thinking about Cole sitting in a cell waiting to talk to me, wanting to explain. What could he possibly say? What explanation could make any of this okay? Against my better judgment, I called Bradley Chin back. Fine, one visit, but I'm not going alone. You can bring whoever you want. I brought Ethan. We drove to the detention center on a gray Tuesday afternoon. Sat in the waiting room for 20 minutes. Then a guard led us to the visiting area. Cole was already there, sitting at a table in an orange jumpsuit. He looked terrible, thinner, older, broken. When he saw me, his eyes filled with tears. "This," he said. I sat down across from him. Ethan stood behind me like a guard. "You have 15 minutes, I said. Talk." Cole wiped his eyes. "I don't even know where to start. How about the beginning? How about when you decided to become a criminal?" He flinched. "It wasn't like that. It wasn't a decision. It just happened. Things like this don't just happen, Cole. It started small. A client made a bad investment, lost a lot of money. He was going to sue the firm. So I fudged some numbers, made it look like he'd approved the trade, covered my tracks, and then I realized how easy it was, how much money was just sitting there. These people, they didn't even look at their statements. They just trusted me. And I kept taking little bits at a time, then bigger bits, then millions of dollars." Cole nodded miserably. "I told myself I'd pay it back, that I was just borrowing, but I never did. I just kept taking more and killing people who got too close. That was Vincent. That was never me. But you knew about it. Silence, didn't you?" "Yes, I knew. Patricia Chin, that accountant. You knew Vincent was going to kill her." I tried to talk him out of it. I swear. But he said she was going to expose everything. That we'd all go to prison. So you let him kill her." "I didn't let him. I couldn't stop him. You could have gone to the police. You could have warned her and thrown away everything. Everything we'd built. Everything you stole." "You mean?" Cole put his head in his hands. "You're right. You're absolutely right. I'm a monster. I know that." "Why?" I asked. "Why did you do it? We had enough. We had a good life." "It wasn't about the money," Cole said quietly. "Or it was, but not the way you think." "Then what was it about?" "Control, power, knowing I was smarter than everyone else. Knowing I could get away with it." I stared at him. "This man, I'd loved this stranger." "Did you ever love me?" I asked. "Yes, God. Yes, Jess. You were the only real thing in my life. The only honest thing." "That's not true. Because you were lying to me the whole time." "I know. But my feelings for you, those were real. I love you. I've always loved you. You have a funny way of showing it. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness. I know I destroyed everything. But I needed you to know that you weren't part of the lie. What we had, that was real." I stood up. "You know what, Cole? It doesn't matter if it was real or not, because it's over. All of it. The marriage, the life, everything. Just please. I hope you rot in here. I hope you spend every single day thinking about what you did, about the lives you destroyed, about Patricia Chin and her family, about Margaret and all the others. I do. I think about them every day." "Good." I turned to leave. Ethan followed. Just Cole called out. "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry I didn't look back." In the car, Ethan asked if I was okay. "No, but I will be." That took guts going in there. I needed to hear him say it, that he knew what he did, that he understood. Did it help a little? Maybe. I filed for divorce the next day. Cole didn't contest it. Signed whatever his lawyer put in front of him. The divorce was finalized 2 months later. I got nothing because there was nothing to get. The house was seized by the FBI. The cars, the bank accounts, everything. I was 34 years old and starting over with nothing. I moved into a small studio apartment. 1 room, tiny kitchen, bathroom with a shower that barely worked, but it was mine. Paid for with my teaching salary. Honest money. I sold everything I owned that Cole had bought me. The jewelry, the designer, clothes, the expensive art. Sent the money to a victims fund. It wasn't much, maybe $20,000. But it was something. Margaret, the elderly woman who'd lost everything, sent me a letter. "Dear Jessica, I heard you donated money to help the victims. I wanted to thank you. I know this wasn't your fault. I know you were a victim too. But your gesture means more than you know. It shows that there's still good in the world, still people who care. I hope you can rebuild your life. I hope you find happiness. You deserve it. With gratitude, Margaret, I cried reading that letter. Cried for her, for me, for everyone Cole had hurt. The trial was 6 months after Cole's arrest. Had to testify. Had to sit in a courtroom and answer questions about my marriage, about what I knew and when I knew it. Cole's lawyer tried to suggest I'd been involved, that I'd helped him launder money. Mrs. Hayes, didn't you think it was strange that your husband could afford such an expensive lifestyle? I thought he was good at his job. You never questioned where the money came from? No, I trusted my husband. That trust seems quite convenient, doesn't it? Rachel's lawyer objected. The judge sustained it. But the insinuation hung in the air that maybe I had known. Maybe I'd looked the other way. After my testimony, several victims approached me. Some were angry, yelling, blaming me. But others were kind. We know it's not your fault, an older man said. We know you're a victim too. His wife nodded. That man fooled all of us. Don't blame yourself. Their kindness made me cry more than the anger had. The trial lasted 3 weeks. Witness after witness, document after document. Evidence of Cole's crimes laid out in excruciating detail. When the verdict came back, I was sitting in the back of the courtroom with Ethan and Rachel. Guilty on all counts. Cole showed no emotion, just stared straight ahead. The sentencing hearing was 2 weeks later. The victims gave impact statements. Margaret went first. This man destroyed my life, she said, her voice shaking. He took everything my husband worked for, everything we saved. And now I'm 73 years old, living in my daughter's basement because I can't afford my own home. One by one the victims spoke. Each story more heartbreaking than the last. A young couple who'd lost their children's college fund. A widower who trusted Cole with his late wife's estate. A disabled veteran whose VA benefits Cole had stolen. 60 people, 60 lives destroyed. Finally the judge spoke. Mr. Hayes, you have committed crimes of profound betrayal. You violated the trust of vulnerable people. You stole their futures, their security, their peace of mind. And when someone threatened to expose you, you conspired to take her life. Cole's lawyer tried to object. The judge waved him off. You showed no remorse, no conscience, no humanity. And for that I'm sentencing you to 40 years in federal prison. You will be eligible for parole in 30 years. But I hope you never see the outside of a prison wall again. 40 years. Cole would be 72 when he got out. If he got out, his whole life gone. Part of me felt satisfaction. He deserved this. But part of me felt something else, something complicated. Because once upon a time I'd loved this man. I'd promised to spend my life with him, and now he'd spend his life in a cage. After the sentencing, I stood outside the courthouse with Ethan and Rachel. How do you feel? Rachel asked. I don't know. Empty, maybe that's normal. Is it over now? Is this finally over? For Cole? Yes. For you? Ethan looked at me carefully. For you, it's just beginning. He was right. The months after the trial were the hardest of my life. I had to rebuild everything from scratch, find a new place to live, buy furniture, replace everything that had been seized. But more than that, I had to rebuild myself. I started therapy twice a week at first, then once a week. Talked about the betrayal, the loss, the guilt I felt for not knowing. You can't blame yourself for trusting your husband, my therapist said. That's what marriage is, trust. But I should have seen something. He spent 12 years perfecting his lies. He fooled investigators. He fooled his business partners. He fooled everyone. You're not special because you didn't see it. You're human. Slowly, painfully, I started to believe her. I threw myself into work, into teaching, into my students. They became my purpose, my reason to get up in the morning. One student, a girl named Hannah, told me I was her favorite teacher. You make history interesting, she said. You make it matter. Thank you, Hannah. Are you okay though? You seem sad sometimes. I'm getting there. My mom went through a bad divorce too. She says it gets easier. Your mom is smart. A year after Cole's sentencing, Rachel told me about the whistleblower fund. You're entitled to it, she explained. You cooperated with the investigation. You helped us build the case. The FBI recovered $18 million because of the evidence you provided. I didn't do anything. You and Ethan did all the work, but you could have warned Cole. You could have destroyed evidence. You could have refused to testify. And you didn't. You helped us. How much? $250,000. Stared at her. What? It's yours, Jess. The paperwork came through today. $250,000. More money than I'd ever had in my life. Honest money. I used some of it to pay off my student loans, some to help my sister who'd been struggling. And the rest I saved, but I also did something else. I reached out to Margaret, asked if I could take her to lunch. She agreed. We met at a cafe downtown. She looked older than in her photos, more tired. "Thank you for meeting me," I said. "Of course, dear. I wanted to apologize in person for what Cole did to you." "You don't need to apologize. You didn't do anything wrong. I benefited from his crimes. I lived in a house paid for with your money. I drove a car bought with your savings. I need to make that right. Jessica, please let me finish." I pulled out an envelope. "This is a check for $50,000. I know it doesn't replace what you lost, but it's something." Margaret's hand shook as she took the envelope. "I can't accept this." "Yes, you can. Please, I need you to." She opened the envelope, looked at the check, started crying. This is too much. It's not enough. It'll never be enough. But maybe it helps." Margaret hugged me. "You're a good person, Jessica. Your husband didn't deserve you." I cried too for what felt like the 100th time. But these tears felt different. Lighter somehow. Like maybe, just maybe, I was starting to heal. I reached out to other victims too. Couldn't give them all money, but I wrote letters, apologized, offered what support I could. Some ignored me, some were angry, but some wrote back thanking me, forgiving me, telling me their stories. And slowly I started to feel less guilty, less responsible for Cole's crimes. I wasn't the criminal he was. I was just someone who'd loved the wrong person. 2 years after Cole went to prison, I started dating again. It was terrifying. Opening myself up to someone new, trusting again. I went on a few bad dates. First, guys who talked about themselves the whole time, guys who made terrible jokes, guys who clearly had no interest in a second date. Then I met Andrew. He was a history teacher at a neighboring school. We met at a professional development workshop about incorporating primary sources in curriculum. "Your presentation was great," he said afterward. "Really practical ideas." "Thanks, Sue. I loved the bit about using newspapers as historical evidence." "Want to grab coffee? Compare notes." We got coffee. Talked for 3 hours. He was smart, funny, kind. And when I mentioned I was divorced, he didn't pry, just nodded. 2 years ago. It's tough, isn't it? The toughest, but we survive. We do. We started dating slowly. Coffee dates, dinner dates, movie dates. I told him about Cole on our 5th date. "My ex-husband is in prison," I said. "For fraud and conspiracy to commit murder." Andrew blinked. "Wow, that's heavy. It was all over the news 2 years ago. The financial advisor scandal?" "Oh well. That was your husband?" "Yeah." "Did you know about what he was doing?" "No." "I found out by accident. My best friend was investigating him." Andrew was quiet for a moment then. "That must have been devastating." "It was. Still is sometimes. Thank you for telling me. That takes guts. I wanted you to know before this goes any further." "If it goes any further." "Do you want it to go further?" "Think so. But I'm scared." "But maybe scared together is better than scared alone." I smiled. Maybe we took things slow, really slow. No rushing into anything, no grand gestures, just getting to know each other, and it was nice. It was simple. Andrew never tried to fix me. Never tried to make me forget what happened. He just listened, supported, was there. 6 months into our relationship, we were having dinner at his place when he asked me something. "Do you still love him, Cole?" "Yeah, I thought about it. I loved who I thought he was, but that person never existed. So no, I don't love him." "You hate him?" "Sometimes, but mostly I just feel sad for everyone he hurt, including himself." "That's generous of you." "I don't know if it's generous. I'm just tired of being angry all the time." Andrew reached across the table, took my hand. "You're one of the strongest people I've ever met." "I don't feel strong." "That's what makes you strong." 3 years after Cole went to prison, Andrew proposed. We were hiking. Nothing fancy, just a trail we'd walked dozens of times. We stopped at a overlook. The view stretched for miles. "I love this spot," Andrew said. He turned to face me, pulled out a ring. "Jessica, I know you've been through hell. I know you have trust issues. I know you're scared, but I love you. And I want to spend my life proving that you can trust me, that you can love again, that you deserve happiness." I started crying. "Will you marry me?" "Yes." "Yes, of course." "Yes." He slipped the ring on my finger. A simple silver band with a small diamond. "It's perfect," I said. "It's not stolen," he said with a small smile. "Paid for it myself. With my teacher salary." I laughed through my tears. That's the most romantic thing anyone's ever said to me. We got married 6 months later. Small ceremony, just family and close friends. Ethan was my man of honor. Rachel was a bridesmaid. Beach. Someone yelled at the reception. Ethan stood up, clinked his glass. I've known Jess since we were 16. We've been through everything together. Bad dates, good dates. That time we both got food poisoning from gas station sushi. Everyone laughed. But the last few years have been tough. Really tough. And I watched Jess handle everything with more grace and strength than anyone I've ever known. She lost everything and rebuilt anyway. She trusted again even after being betrayed. She opened her heart even after it was broken. His voice cracked slightly. And now she's married to this guy. He gestured at Andrew. Who better treat her right or he'll answer to me. More laughter to Jess and Andrew. Ethan raised his glass. May your marriage be boring. May your finances be transparent. And may you never have any gay best friends asking to spend the night. Everyone toasted. I caught Ethan's eye across the room, mouthed. Thank you. He smiled, mouth back. Boys. That night after the reception, Andrew and I were getting ready for bed in our hotel room. Crazy day, he said. Best day. Do you have any regrets about how everything happened? I thought about it. About Cole, about the lies, about discovering my entire life was built on fraud. About losing everything and having to start over. No, I said finally. Because if none of that had happened, I wouldn't have ended up here with you. He kissed me. Lucky me. Lucky us, the bot. Next morning we left for our honeymoon. 2 weeks in Ireland. On the plane, Andrew was reading. I was looking out the window and I thought about everything that had happened, the whole impossible journey. From the morning I saw Ethan's text on Cole's phone to now. Married to someone new, someone honest, someone who chose me every day. Cole had destroyed my life. But in doing so he'd also freed me. Freed me to find out who I really was, what I really wanted, who I really deserved. 4 years after Cole went to prison, I got a letter from him. I almost threw it away without reading it. But curiosity got the better of me. Dear Jess, I know I have no right to write to you. I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I needed to tell you something. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I don't deserve it. What I did was unforgivable, but I wanted you to know that you were right about everything. I destroyed lives. I destroyed families. I destroyed you. And I think about that every single day. I heard you got married to a teacher. I'm glad you deserve someone good, someone honest, someone who won't lie to you for years. I'm in therapy now, court-mandated. And I'm finally starting to understand what I did. Not just the legal crimes but the human ones, the betrayal, the pain I caused. It doesn't change anything. I know that. But I wanted you to know that I'm not the same person I was. I'm trying to be better. Even though it's too late. I hope you're happy, Jess. I hope you have the life you always deserved. I'm sorry for everything. Cole, I read the letter twice. Then I showed it to Andrew. What do you think? He asked. I think he's learned something. I think prison changed him. Does that change how you feel? No, but it's something. It's better than nothing, I wrote back. One short letter. Cole, I accept your apology. Not because you deserve it, but because I deserve peace. What you did was terrible, unforgivable, and I'll never forget it. But I also won't let it define me anymore. I'm happy now. Really happy. And I hope wherever you are you can find some measure of peace too. Goodbye, Cole. Jessica, I sent the letter and then I let him go. Let go of the anger, the hurt, the betrayal, because holding on to it was only hurting me. 5 years after Cole went to prison, Andrew and I bought a house, a small house. Nothing fancy, but it was ours. Paid for with our combined teacher salaries, honest money. We painted the walls, planted a garden, made it a home. One day while we were unpacking boxes, Andrew found my wedding photo from my first marriage. What do you want to do with this? He asked. I looked at it, at Cole and me smiling, young in love. Throw it away, I said. You sure? Positive. That person doesn't exist anymore. Neither of those people do. He threw it away and I didn't feel sad. I felt free. 6 years after everything fell apart, I was grading papers when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but I did. Oh. Is this Jessica Hayes? It's Jessica Miller now. Who's this? My name is Lauren. You don't know me, but I wanted to thank you. Thank me for what? I'm Patricia Chen's daughter, the forensic accountant. Your ex-husband killed. My blood ran cold. Oh God, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for what he did. That's why I'm calling. I wanted you to know that I don't blame you. My mom wouldn't want me to. She was always big on personal responsibility. Your ex-husband killed her, not you. I started crying. Thank you. Thank you for saying that. I also wanted to tell you something. My mom kept journals. She wrote about her investigation, about what she found, about what she feared. In her last entry the day before she died, she wrote about you. About me, she wrote. The wife doesn't know. I can tell she's innocent in all this. I hope when this is over someone tells her the truth. She deserves to know. She deserves better. I couldn't speak. My mom saw you, Jessica. He saw that you were a victim too. And she wanted you to be okay. So I wanted you to know that. I wanted you to know that she didn't blame you. And neither do I. Thank you. I whispered, thank you so much. You're welcome. Take care of yourself. She hung up. I sat there holding the phone crying. Patricia Chin, the woman my ex-husband had killed. She thought about me, cared about me, and her daughter had reached out to tell me that it was a gift, an incredible gift. That night I told Andrew about the call. That was kind of her, he said. It was more than kind. It was, I don't even know the word. Compassionate, generous, both. She could have hated me. She had every right to hate me, but she didn't, because you're not responsible for what Cole did. I know that now. But it helps hearing it from her. We sat in comfortable silence for a while. Then Andrew said, you know what I love about you? What? You've been through hell. Absolute hell. And you came out the other side with more compassion, more kindness, more love than most people who've had easy lives. I don't feel particularly kind most days. That's because you're too close to see it. But I see it. Everyone sees it. I rested my head on his shoulder. I love you. I love you too. 7 years after my gay best friend asked if he could spend a night with my husband, I was exactly where I needed to be. I had a good job, a good husband, a good life. I had friends who loved me, a sister who supported me, a therapist who helped me heal. I had a small house with a garden, a car that was paid off, savings in the bank, all of it honest, all of it mine. And I had peace. Not the absence of pain, but the acceptance of it. The understanding that bad things happen, that people lie, that life isn't fair. But also the understanding that we survive, we rebuild, we find joy again. One Saturday morning, Ethan came over for coffee. We sat in my kitchen just like old times. Remember when all this started? I asked. How could I forget? Did you know it would turn out this way? No, honestly, I was terrified. I thought you'd hate me forever. I could never hate you. You saved my life. Rachel saved your life. I just took pictures. You both saved me. I wouldn't have survived this without you. Ethan reached across the table, took my hand. You would have. You're stronger than you know. Maybe, but I'm glad I didn't have to find out. We sat in comfortable silence, drinking our coffee. Are you happy? Ethan asked suddenly. Yeah, I really am. Are you getting there? Dating someone new? Actually, tell me everything. He laughed and launched into a story about his new boyfriend. And I listened, smiled, felt grateful for this friendship, for this second chance, for this life. Later that day I was in the garden when Andrew came out. Got something for you, he said. He handed me an envelope. Inside was a card from the school district teacher of the year. What? How? Your students nominated you. Principal told me yesterday. Wanted me to surprise you. I stared at the card, at this recognition, this honor. After everything I'd been through, after all the shame and scandal, my students had chosen me. I don't deserve this. I said, yes you do. You're an amazing teacher, Jess. You inspire those kids every day. I started crying again. But these were happy tears. Thank you. Don't thank me. Thank your students. They see who you really are. That night I looked at myself in the mirror. Really looked. I wasn't the same person who'd found those texts 7 years ago. Wasn't the same woman who'd discovered her husband was a criminal. I was stronger now, wiser, more careful, but also more open, more loving, more alive, because I'd survived the worst thing I could imagine. And I'd come out the other side not unscathed but intact, not unchanged but better. My gay best friend had asked if he could spend a night with my husband. I'd laughed it off until I found photos of him on my husband's phone. And it had turned out to be the beginning of everything. The beginning of the end of my old life and the beginning of my new one. A life built on honesty, on truth, on love that was real. Life I'd earned. A life I deserved. A life that was finally completely mine. And as I stood there in my small house with my honest husband sleeping upstairs and my loyal friends just a phone call away, I realized something. I was grateful. Not for what Cole did. Never for that, but for who I'd become because of it. For the strength I'd found, the resilience. The ability to trust again despite everything. For the life I'd built from nothing. For the people who'd stood by me, for the second chance I'd been given. 7 years ago my world had ended. But it had also begun. And I wouldn't change that for anything. Because sometimes the worst betrayals lead you exactly where you need to go.